Hey, I'm so glad that you're here today. You have a very sexy face. What? You don't have a face? Get a face! Steal someone else's face! Grow a face so I can tickle your face! My name is Joshua and welcome to Legato. Today's lecture is for a very smart kid. So to anyone who is dumb or who's not so smart or who has the most ugliest score in their IQ result, then grow a brain and come back to this video. Because you have the most smallest brain that nobody wants to talk about. Now whenever you're in a situation when you're looking at the music scores like this, you'll be like, damn, this is the most ugliest and the most hideous thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. Except for the vocal musicians. But for performers who are not singers, find this one of the most irritating as a fly. Did that fly just have a... Why? Now, before I start this chapter, I just want to be very clear about the goal when we're doing these groupings. And that goal is to make the readers easier to read. Grouping makes the readers easier. For fuck's sake, one more time. Groupings make readers easy to read. Groupings make readers easy to read. But let me make myself very clear about that. Grouping makes readers easy to read, meaning that we have to beam each of the notes that are part of one particular group. So it makes the readers easier to read which part is part of which part. So let's always think about that whenever we're grouping each of these babies. This is the graph of all the rhythms, simple time signatures. 2-4, 3-4, and 4. 2 crotchet beats in a bar, 3 crotchet beats in a bar, and 4 crotchet beats in a bar. So what in the name of a dick does these time signatures have in common? Yes, the top numbers 2, 3, 4 is different, but the bottom number doesn't change at all. So that number 4, again, the meaning of the bottom number 4 is crotchet beats in a bar. Therefore, one group has to be one single crotchet beat. And that's how we make one group. This one particular group has to be in a crotchet beat. Now here's an ugliest example of a rhythm right there. Ugh. So look at this hideous tails sticking out of their bodies. Those tails should be removed and make these two pairs of notes group together. Why do we do that? Because one crotchet is one beat, but quaver is half of a crotchet. So if you put half plus half together, it becomes one. So if one beat is crotchet beat, means that quaver has half of that crotchet. So half plus half, 1. Which is why we need to group these two notes together like two babies holding their hands. Aww. It's the same scenario for every single rhythm. Now, you see these ugly semiquavers? If you group them into one crotchet beat, you must group them into 4 semiquavers in one beam. Ha! Because one semiquaver is quarter of the crotchet. Therefore, we need 4 semiquavers to make one crotchet beat. What is your job, by the way? Making the readers easy to read, right? So, then what do we gotta do? Group these babies together, tell them to hold each other's hands, and then make them look sexy. I mean, not that kind of sexy, but like make it like it healthy. Sorry, let me change the word. Healthy. Same case when these ugly bastards too. However, there is a special rule for 2-4 and 3-4 time signature. When there is only quavers in one bar, you must group everyone together. But in a time signature 4-4, you must group them into 2. So there is basically 4 quavers and another 4 quavers, basically resembling 4 crotchets in a bar, and it's still part of 4 crotchet beats in a bar, but it just instead looks like 2 groups. So in some cases, this might look like 2 time signatures. If you group it in the middle like this, you'll make the readers say, you must divide this into 2. Look at that, just take a look at that. You must know how this satisfies me. Therefore, in a 4-4 time signature example, we must remember that this example should be grouped like this. Oh yeah, as well as the other way around as well. But in this scenario, you must understand that you still have to consider the 4 groupings, but we must group 2 quavers and then group 4 quavers, and also vice versa. What is a dotted note and what is a tie? If you want to know about that question, then I have to go all the way back to the basics. A tied note is this curvy line connecting between these 2 same notes. Now, please don't get this confused between a tie and a slur. Yes, a slur is also this curvy little line as the same way as how you do the curvy little line to the tie. But what is the difference? Slur is when you play these group of notes as legato, meaning you have to play all of this very smoothly. But a tie, as I said before, when there's 2 same notes with a little curvy line attached to it, that means you have to hold it. You have to hold it. You have to hold it like how you're holding your sheet before you go to the toilet. So now, how do you play a tie? As I said before, you just have to hold the note. That's it. Just hold it. But how long do you have to hold it? You have to hold it depending on which rhythm it is written in both notes. But you have to understand that both notes have a specific rhythm and you have to understand how many beats does each of these rhythms have. In this case, you have to do a little bit of maths here. Alright, let's go. It can be a crotchet and another crotchet. And crotchet has 1 beat and plus 1 equals to 2. Therefore, you have to hold the crotchet tied to the crotchet as 2 beats. Equals 1 plus 1 equals 2 beats. Then what about the minim tied to the crotchet? This is how it goes. The minim has 2 beats and the crotchet has 1 beat. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. So you have to hold this for 3 beats. That sounds pretty easy, but not so easy until I get crotchet tied to the quaver, Same scenario, crotchet tied to the quaver. Crotchet is 1 beat and quaver is half beat, so 1 plus half equals 1.5. So you have to hold this note 1.5 beat. So you just basically 1, 2, up. So it basically sounds like 1, 2, up, 1, 2, up, 1, 2, up, 1, 2, up. But sometimes in the grouping rules, you don't really have to use the tie. Sometimes you can just use a little dot on the note, because the dotted note is basically the dot right next to that note, meaning that you have to plus the half of that rhythm. So for example, if there's a dot on the semi-brief, half that semi-brief, it becomes a minim, aka 2 beats. So semi-brief is 4 plus 2 equals 6 beats. So you have to hold the dotted semi-brief as 6 beats. It's exactly the same way as how you perform for semi-brief tied to the minim, because minim has 2 beats and semi-brief has 4 beats. Dotted minim. Minim has 2 beats, and if you halve the minim, it becomes a crotchet, so it becomes 3. So you have to hold the dotted minim as 3 beats. This is exactly the same as minim tied to the crotchet. So in the case of a dotted crotchet, half of that crotchet becomes a half beat. And basically, when there's a crotchet plus half, you have to hold that note 1.5. Same way as how you play crotchet tied to the quaver. Some of you guys might find this difficult to understand, but don't worry, you'll get used to it very easily. We're back to making children holding hands again. Now the question here is, which one looks better for the readers to read? Is it this one or this one? Obviously, this one is easy for the composer to write and performers to read. This one is 100% for nerds. But seriously, there's a reason why I say it like that. You see, because first of all, ties are usually used when we want to hold one note for more than one bar like this. But in the situation when we're writing something inside the bar, you don't really have to bother about the tie in the first place. That is why writing with these dots like this way is much more easier for us to read and easy for composers to write, because all you just need is a little piece of dot. Next one, both of them sounds exactly the same. Which one looks the best? Of course, the first one looks so much easier for the people to read. As you can see, the second one is torture. But okay, let's bring up something completely different. Now, this one is a multiple choice question here. Which one should be the best of this option? Yes, just leave the way it is. But don't forget to group those 3 notes over there, because it's part of that situation, you know? So for today's lecture, I'm just gonna do it all the way up to here, because this is just a general information about simple time signatures. So for the later lectures, I'm gonna be teaching you about groupings for compound time signatures. Here is a review. Also, before I end this review, I just wanted to do, let's get want me to talk about, leave a comment down below. Then I will see you in the next lecture. My name is Joshua Parkin, and as always, take care. Bye-bye!